Now that we know what NFTs are, right, and what the difference is between a fungible and a non-fungible asset, we inevitably have to ask our question, why? Why do we need NFTs to do anything at all? What is the purpose of us saying, okay, well, we know what a fungible asset is, we know what a non-fungible asset is, but why do we need these tokens to define ownership, right? And, at the end of the day, that's a great question. So let's talk about purpose, right? Let's talk about purpose in a digital world. In a digital world, ownership was never clearly defined. What do I mean by this? Never clearly defined. Well, honestly, like when I bought something, I knew I was the owner of it. Yeah, you knew. But was it public? Did you have the sole rights to that item? Is it traceable, right? All of those things, just like owning a watch. I know that's my watch. I know that I bought that watch and therefore that is my watch, right? Yeah, but like, what actually makes it your watch? Is it tracked in a database somewhere? Does Rolex keep a database of the serial number against the person who bought it? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. And that will define ownership, right? The serial codes often do define ownership, but only if they're tracked against the purchaser. Okay. So in a digital world, do we get serial codes on things? Well, think of a time where you bought a domain name, a game skin, a ticket, right? Just purchasing online in general makes all the difference in the world because, you're purchasing a domain name is very traceable, right? Like ICANN is tracking this person bought it and we have WhoisGuards. So there is a database tracking who is the rightful owner of the domain name. Can I resell it? Not really. Well, I can resell my domain, but there's no real mechanism for it. It's more so a transferability aspect and then someone, pays me for it. There's no real online mechanism that really warrants that in an easy to use way. Think of a game skin. Have you ever played Fortnite? Although you buy that skin, it's linked to your account, therefore there is a form of ownership, right? A certain form. But can I go and resell it on eBay? Can I take that skin and, turn a profit? It's quite difficult, no? Inevitably, you ask the question, do you actually own it? And ownership means that you can freely resell the good you own, right? It does mean that, right? Like if I own something, like if I buy a watch, I have the physical good. I go to a store, I say, hey, how much? And they give me money and I give them the watch. If I buy a game skin online on Fortnite or whatever other game you may play, it doesn't have to be Fortnite, but any game at all, it's really difficult to resell it. Like I can't just go and put a price tag on it. Now, there were certain games in the past that allowed this ability of reselling skins, right? There was the CSGO stuff that went on, and there have been ways of doing this, right? But all of those ways were kind of proprietary. Like, they weren't unified. Think of it like this. A marketplace to sell these digital things was usually built custom to the asset that was being sold. So there was no unified way to track ownership of any digital good whatsoever. It doesn't matter what it is. And that exactly is what NFTs are trying to solve. The right to ownership, the right to resell. And they're enabling that through different mechanisms. And those mechanisms we'll talk about. But the why of NFTs, the why is the ownership part. The ownership being very strict. And through that ownership, enabling ways to clearly define that resellability. Because when we ask ourselves, what's my proof today? Is it an email? Is it like a thread? Is it the serial number? Yeah, maybe it's all of those things, but is it publicly traced? No. Is it clear? No. And all of those questions, all of those problems are what NFT as a technology is trying to solve for. Now, if we take NFT as a technology, right? Just the raw technology, like the concept of an NFT, the token that represents the non-fungible item. That is the why. That's the ownership part. And then through that concept, we get into, all right, how do I enable that? And that's when we enter blockchain, a decentralized ledger, right? Blockchain technology, again, a technology that enables other concepts, other technologies to build upon it. And that's what we'll zoom in on. But what I want to end on is that the why of non-fungible tokens is for that proof of ownership. And through that proof of ownership, having that token, being able to say, I own this asset, and being able to enable marketplaces, tradability, resellability, all of those things, we can do that now because the concept is there. A generic concept, not a proprietary concept where Call of Duty has its own marketplace and Fortnite has its own marketplace. That means every company needs to build their own proprietary system. NFTs enable a generic system that everyone can build upon. It doesn't matter what company. Leverage the generic blockchain technology and enable resellability without needing to build all of these systems in a closed off way.